Bokhari is a senior fellow with the Center for Global Policy in Washington, and he joins us now. Kamran, so what was the message here to President Assad? Was it, you can do as you please and be in charge so long as you don't use chemical weapons?
I think that's pretty much the message here, is that you need to steer clear of anything that's not conventional chemical weapons or biological, but there's clearly no effort to deny its capability to conventional warfare.
We're going to try, because we're losing you, but we're going to try and stick with it and see how we get on. So what was the point? Is that good enough for Syrians who are being attacked daily by the Assad regime? I mean, surely they want more than just this kind of surgical strike. They want something more substantive.
Absolutely. I mean, but that's the whole thing, is that the rebels have been disappointed for many, many years, and they will continue to be disappointed. And the people of Syria that are suffering see this and say, you know, this is not good enough. And so I don't think anybody had any expectation that this would go the way they preferred it to go. They all knew that it was going to be a limited strike against chemical weapons facilities.
What is so terrible about accepting President Assad at the helm in Syria? Because, of course, there are issues of, if you remove President Assad, what replaces him?
I mean, that is the key question, and that's sort of what ironically brings U.S. and Russian interests to converge, you know, irrespective of whether it was the Obama administration or now the Trump administration. D.C. and Moscow are more or less on the same page when they say that, look, we don't want regime change. Regime change will create a vacuum that will be filled by unsavory actors. I mean, the rebels are not exactly democratic nationalists that will usher in an era of democracy in Syria. But on the other hand, I mean, we have seen 500,000 people lose their lives over the past several years. So it's not as if this is an easy thing to decide on.
And what about the diplomatic efforts? Because there's the Geneva talks, which, to all intents and purposes, appeared to have stalled.
I mean, diplomacy works where both sides have an interest in a negotiated situation or a solution. And so, you know, from the point of view of the Assad regime, it is winning this war. It is taking back territory from various rebel groups around the country. It's in no mood to negotiate unless it's a negotiation of a surrender or a ceasefire. And on the other side, the rebels have nothing to stand on, and therefore they can't negotiate other than from a position of you know, extreme weakness.
Just a few years ago, President Obama used to talk about President Assad will not be the leader of a unified, undivided Syria. I think he used words along those lines. Do you think that is still the scenario, or has the Assad regime been so dominant recently that they could well take all Syrian territory back?
So three things. One is that, you know, what President Obama said was rhetoric. I mean, in reality, the Obama administration did nothing to operationalize that aspiration. Number two is that there's no going back to the old Syria. Syria is shattered. The Syria that we knew for decades since its independence from France has long ceased to exist. What we have is a regime that controls roughly half of the country, and I don't think that it's about to lose that half. And so this is a perpetual battle space.
Okay, thanks.